Hari Om. Start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are trying to inquire who I am. Who I am is not a japa. Cannot sit down and say who am I, who am I, who am I, or aham brahmasmi, aham brahma. It's not a japa. It's an inquiry is required. That means investigation is required. And inquiry requires the mind to inquire. So this can be done only in the waking state and with the sharp mind, where the mind has to inquire like any inquiry into the subject. So for that, I had to make the mind to concentrate on the inquiry so that it doesn't get distracted by any other thought process, so that I can concentrate on this. And being very subtle, I have to be very careful, because it's not that easily I can see who I am, but I had to see in everything, I had to see myself. So it is a recognition. That means I have to reanalyze what I am cognizing, because every time I am cognizing only I am objects, and from the memory, based on the attributes of the object, I say this is a chair, this is a table, and so on and so forth. But what I need to do is, in every object, I am seeing the consciousness has to be there. Without the consciousness, I cannot be conscious of the thought. Therefore, I cannot be conscious of the object that is representing the thought. So, therefore, I had to be very delicately use the mind to shift the mind from the object that I see, but because of which I can see the object. That is, I am the conscious entity, so I am trying to see the subject as a subject, and that's what Bhagavan Ramana says, analyze the analyst, the one who is seeing, see the seer. So how can I see the seer? In the very seeing process, again, I cannot objective, oh, I am the seer. It is essentially a very delicate shifting the attention to that. So what happens in the process? There are other obstacles because I am not used to it. The mind is only looking at the object, but now I am looking at what is that because of which object is known, or object is seen, object is heard. So everything now I have to shift my attention to that very process, and that itself involves a delicate, because the very process of inquiry, the mind has to stop, because then it cannot objectify again. So it is not a forceful stop of the mind, but it is a concentrating on the very fact, on the consciousness that is illuminating the thought. I am not eliminating the thought, but I am concentrating that because of which a thought is known. That means automatically my attention is not on the contents of the thought, but my attention is on the fact that I am able to see the thought. That is the real meditation. So I have to keep my attention, and if my attention goes back to the thought content, that's what essentially the Krishna says whenever I found out that the mind is shifted away and paying attention to the attributive contents of the thought, yato nischarati manaschanchalamastiram tato swayam, essentially you bring the mind back to it and concentrate on the thing that you want to concentrate, where the mind itself has to cease to function in a way, in an objective way, but it is there in the process of revealing, and it becomes self-revealing also. This is what essentially jnanam involves. We go into more analysis, and now we will take the sloka 131. Yasya sannidhi matrena dehendriya manodhiyaha vishayeshu swakriyeshu vartante preritayeva Yasya sannidhi matrena dehendriya manodhiyaha vishayeshu swakriyeshu vartante prerita iva. So some more pointers are being pointed here to find out what exactly is this. Because there is never a time I was not there, but all I need to is a clear understanding of what that I am is for me to contemplate on. So it is not that I have to sit in one place in meditation for me to recognize, because it is there everywhere and it is not at one place. Therefore, what I need to do is train the mind to see this clearly. Mind has to be trained, and that's what Swami Chinmayananda called it is a pole vault. Pole vault means where you take a pole and you run all the way and you stamp it and then swing and cross the pole there. I say, why do I need a pole? You have to drop the pole that you are holding it, otherwise you cannot cross it. So use the pole, go all the way and drop this pole and cross over the other pole. He says, why do I need the pole? If I had to drop it anyway, I need the pole all the way to go up, and then automatically I have to discard this, because in the same way, mind has to be used to inquire what is the process of knowledge taking place. Knowledge cannot be defined. I can only define knowledge of X, Y, Z and so on, because I am only perceiving through the pramana X, Y, Z, through perception or to logic or any other process of means of knowledge. I am only knowing X, Y, Z. So X, Y, Z means any subject that I am trying to investigate. But this is, we are looking at, because of which I am conscious of X, Y, Z. I am not paying attention to the details of X, Y, Z, but X, Y, Z are required for me to be conscious of. So I am using the same. So that's what is essentially Japa Yoga is. Japa Yoga is taking the name of the Lord and repeat. So I am providing a mind instead of thinking all over, even though it is revealed in every thought, because I have a tendency to shift from one or jump from one thought to the other thought to the other thought. So I'm sitting in the seat of meditation, hey, so think of Lord Rama, so I think of Rama, suddenly Rama Rao comes and say Rama Rao owes me this much money, and my mind has gone all over the place. From Rama to Rama Rao to money and the place he borrowed, all those things come into picture, because mind has a tendency to jump from one thought to other thought like a monkey. That's why monkey is also saparatvam. It's continuously shifting, and that's what my mind is trained to do it. So now I need a place where mind doesn't go from one thought to the other thought, and that is essentially secret of japa. Japa yoga is where I am given a same thought, and same thought repeating again, so that I don't shift from one thought to the other thought. I can take any thought for my japa. So gaga bubu om, gaga bubu om, gaga bubu, I can do it, but suddenly mind will ask, what is this gaga bubu? So I need a thought that the mind is comfortable with, the mind knows what it means, at the same time mind doesn't shift, and that's why all the mantras are of either Vedic or depending upon how you have association of the totality in terms of the Lord. So all the mantras are centered on the names of the Lord. So that the mind doesn't shift, and also it provides a little broader field for the mind to think of. So Rama means I know all the glorious of Rama and the greatness of the Rama. Even by thinking, even my mind is not meditating what is consciousness, even thinking of those glorious thoughts, my mind itself becomes a purer thought. And then once analyzing what exactly is this Rama means, Sarvesha Ramanti iti Ramaha, the one who revels in everybody, and that is the consciousness that is being reveled. So if I start understanding the Vedantic implication of what Rama means, then my mind shifts to the higher and higher to the knowledge itself. So even if Rama comes, he has to teach only the same thing, and that is what essentially Rama teaches Lakshmana in the Rama Gita. Here, the beauty of this is exemplified. How can I recognize consciousness? And here is a statement: Yasya sannidhi matrena dehendriya manodeyaha vishayeshu swakriyashu vartante prerita iva. Just by its mere presence of it, you can see how beautiful it is. Because Consciousness is all pervading and infinite. And just its mere presence of it, it's getting reflected, and very reflection is becoming conscious entity. So you can see what a power that is. So in its very presence of it, the mind has become so active, the innate things has become so active. I can think, I can see, I can touch. It's a wonder actually. And because everything that I see is because of that consciousness that I had to see. In everything I see, I am able to see, and that seeing is what is it? In the Kena Upanishad, it says, Yat chakshusha na pasyati, yena chakshum supasyati, tadeva brahma tvam viddhi, nedam yadino upasate. It says, that which eyes cannot see, but that which eyes, because of which eyes can see. Yat chakshusha na pasyati, that which eyes cannot see, because it's not an object. But yena chakshum supasyati, that because of which eyes can see. That is the light of consciousness, because of which it is beaming through the eyes and revealing every object, so that I am conscious of the object. So pure consciousness cannot be seen, it cannot be an object for analysis, but because of which I am conscious of everything. So consciousness has to come into picture, and here, yes, sannidhi matrena, very mere presence of it, the whole world is becoming active. That's why we said, when someone went to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, he says, please show me God. I thought you have seen, people say you have seen God, and I want to see, can you show me? He says, even if I show you, you cannot recognize. Because God is everywhere. If you want to see, we can see everywhere. But the problem is, you are not able to recognize it. So essentially, Bhagavan says, no, I have all cameras, infrared, and all the cameras are there, I will see. I said, okay, see. All he did is folding his hand or folding his wrist or showing the hand like this. He says, what are you saying? I'm not seeing God. He says, that's why I told you, you cannot see, because now think, yasya sannidhi matrena, by its very mere presence of it, the life is pulsating. Life is, what is life? It is the pure consciousness reflected and making the mind as though it is alive. So what is life? We don't know. Life itself we don't know, but it is the very mere presence of it makes the body function. So, yasya sannidhi matrena deha indriya manodhiyaha, all things are being actively functioning. I am able to see, I am able to talk, even I am able to deny the presence of God only because of the presence of God. So, it's like screaming at the top of voice, I don't have a tongue to talk. The very tongue, very screaming itself proves that he has a tongue to talk. It's the same way an atheist says there is no God here. Because of the presence of God only he is able to say that there is no God here. So that's what has to be, because he has not understood what God means. And he is thinking God is some kind of an object. If he is some kind of an object, then he cannot be God. He says all pervading. If it is all pervading, it cannot have any form. And if there is any form, I am only imposing a form for my prayer. I can invoke him in any form. Oh, you are among the Hindus are worship all animals, cats, dogs and everything, including mouse also. We have a Vahanam for Ganapati. It's a mouse is Vahanam. We have worship because every life form is respected. So every life form is somehow put in as a Vahanam for the Lord. Lord goes in that because Lord is being revealed in that. So yasya sannidhi matrena, by mere presence of it, the whole body is active. So I am able to function, I am able to breathe, I am able to walk, I am able to... So how do I see the Lord? How do I see consciousness? Here is the methodology. So I had to think, I had to see, all my transactions are possible only because of him only. I cannot even talk, I cannot even think, I cannot even reflect. So how much grateful I should be in order to see, because I cannot even breathe without his presence. And therefore how long and how far I had to go in order for me to see the Lord? It is only recognition, reanalyzing, called self-realization. That means I had to learn, and this is exactly what Vedanta means. Vedanta means trying to point out that which you are skipping or not able to see in what you are seeing. You are seeing, getting carried away with the names and forms, nama rupam only, not the substantive that pervades the whole universe. This is essentially a beautiful statement here. Yasya sannidhi matrena deha indriya mano deha. Deha, the body, indriya, sense organs, that means the organs of senses, 5 sense organs, 5 organs of action, everything is functioning because of that. Once it leaves the body, body is just a matter. In fact, it stings from the very second on. So therefore, very presence of it making it as a sacred. After that it becomes a Shava. Until then there is a Shiva there. So Shiva means that auspiciousness is there, because the life itself is the auspicious entity. And Deham, Indriya, the sense organs, Manaha, the mind is able to, I can think, I can feel, and I can do everything that I'm talking about. I'm a human being, I have human mentality. I can even do anybody, it doesn't matter whether it is a crook or something. These things are enlivened because of the presence of the light. He is misusing the equipments given by the Lord. That's a separate issue. But very fact that he is alive is because of the presence of the Lord himself. A story, so one person was, in olden days, they used to go all the way to the Himalayas to see Badri, to see Lord Narayana. So one fellow was traveling all the way from Kerala, and at that time there were no trains and all that. He had to go by walk and stop wherever in the night and then rest there and then continue all that. So one fellow said, why is he going all the way to Badri, all the way from one end of the country to other end of the country to see the Lord? Why Lord is there, not here? So he followed all the way to see what he is going to do. So he goes all the way to Badri Narayana, and there in front of Badri Narayana, he stands in front of it and puts the namaskaram and he closes his eyes. So they say, hey, why are you closing your eyes? You came all the way to see Narayana and you are closing your eyes. Then you can't see anything if you are closing your eyes. You came all the way to see only. Why don't you open your eyes? It's because he has now, when he saw the Narayana, now he wants to see the Narayana inside, because he is there inside also. If I can see inside, I see Badri Narayana everywhere also. So someone asked, why do we need a temple? If God is everywhere, why do we need a temple? Of course, we don't need a temple. If I have real understanding that God is everywhere, then I have see the temple everywhere. Because I am lacking that knowledge that God is everywhere, I had to go at least to the temple and say God is there, at least go to temple or church, whatever, and recognize the presence of God. Then when you go out, take the God with you. Don't leave the God there. Not the Vigraham, but the concept that God is everywhere. That's only training there in the temple to show that God is there. But when they do puja, they do all the Ashtotranama, names of the Lord. And what the names of the Lord? He is Sarvajna, Sarvasaktiman, He is everywhere, everything. And that's what essentially what the puja is. So if I understand it, take the outside also Lord is there. That understanding becomes a maturity. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says Jagada Ishadihi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Bruk Deva Pujanam. Says the worship of the Lord is not just in the temple. Says see the Lord everywhere. Jagada Ishadihi. So know that the whole world is nothing but the Ishvara only. That's exactly what the scriptural statement, you are that. That means the whole universe that I am pointing out is nothing but you only, expressed in form of varieties of names and forms. That's the beauty, and that's what Krishna calls is, look at my vibhuti, this is my glory. It's being presented in so many ways. And here it says, Yasya sannidhi matrena, just by its mere presence, it's not doing anything, it's not doing, hey, now I am going to make this one alive. No, it is just Satchidananda, which is infinite, it has nothing to do with any of this. But in mere presence of it, the subtle body becomes so dynamic and the gross body becomes active, and that's why Vishayeshu, Indriya, Manodeha, the mind, intellect and all the Indriyas, Vishayeshu, in all the objects of their respective objects, Swakriyashu, it's completely involved in terms of activities. So whole activity from morning to evening, because I have a mind to think, intellect and the body to function. All the functions of the vasanas and desires and all those things that we explained in the terms of analysis, but that's because of what? Because I am alive. And because the consciousness is illumining, because of its very mere presence I can see. So how far I had to do? What do I have to do? Recognize it. This is what the teaching is. Teaching is to understand what exactly is Vedanta pointing out. You are looking for God somewhere, it is there right here, right now. So all I have to do is shift my attention from the superficial names and forms, but in and through the superficial names and forms, this is being expressed as both the conscious entity as well as the activity at the rajasic level and the tamasic level at the inert objects also. So everything is in its presence only. Without that, nothing can be done. All I have to say is recognize it, and the very recognition process is the knowledge, and that is what is a wisdom, and that's what is a realization is. Realization is not some blue light or yellow light or some light descending on you, but is a recognition of the presence of the Lord in every transaction. That's what it is. It says, Vishayeshu, Swakriyeshu, every organ is involved in it. So mind is able to feel, intellect is able to think what is right and what is wrong, able to gain the knowledge. All that because of the presence of this. Without it, nothing can be done. It's mere presence of it, it's being done. But itself, it's not doing anything. It says, Akartaham, Abhoktaham, Hameva, Hamavya. I am neither a doer nor an enjoyer, but in my presence, everything is getting activated, everything is doing beautifully, everything is functioning. That is the glory, that's the beauty, and that's why all the Vishnu Sahasranama, if you go into deeper analysis, essentially it's trying to point out it is this. So every Nam is essentially indicator of that. Karanam, Karanam, Karta. He says, I am Karanam, I am Karanam, I am Karta, I am the doer, I am the instrument of doing. Everything is me only, that's Vishnu. But I have to recognize in every action, not only this puja room, but in every activity from morning to the evening, I have to recognize it is He who is doing all that. In His mere presence, He is doing everything. Himself getting not affected by any, but mere presence, the whole world is actively involved, and that's the only way to recognize that. That is what is Sakshatkaram, is I have seen the Lord. I have to see the Lord what? In and through everything that I see. That is called the correct vision. We'll continue this because this is an exhaustive analysis, that each sloka is indicative of the beauty of that, and therefore it's a meditative. We go step by step in terms of analysis of what is that I or what is that Atma, which is same as what is Paramatma. This will stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Harihi.